Coming up on this episode of Outlook TV, Passion's a Dr. Peter fundraiser.
Aaron Chapman with Vancouver Vice.
Coco's Christmas show at the Fountainhead. And much, much more. Hello and welcome to Outlook TV. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Sister Fancy Pants. We'd like to thank the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations for the honor and privilege to film this episode of Outlook TV on their traditional unceded lands.
We're the queer news magazine show that brings you the stories that matter the most from coast to coast. And we're going to kick it off internationally tonight.
Yes, we're talking to the international court system and Canada's involvement. It's very rare for a non-profit organization to last almost as long as our fight for equality. One of those organizations is the International Court System, with chapters in Mexico, United States, and Canada. We're very fortunate to catch up with some of the heir apparents to let us know a little bit more about this organization.
Gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure at this time to introduce Tycot's newest monarchs.
Yes, there's an international court system that oversees all the courts across the U.S. and Canada. And when Jose, the founder of the court system, asked me to be heir apparent and serve on the council well over 20 years ago, that's how I began the involvement in the bigger scenario. And I served Jose, and then when Jose stepped down and they passed the torch to Nicole, then she asked me to come on. So I went on and off the board a couple times because of work and time restraints. So this is probably my fourth or fifth time back on the council.
We have no paid employees. It's all volunteer. We raise millions of dollars throughout, the 70 chapters each year throughout the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And we all travel around to the different coronations and support each other and, try to support the great work. And it's just like a big family. Jose crowned Nicole the Great 15 years ago when she decided to step down, our founder. And so Nicole is getting to the point where at some point she will step down. And so I will be the next to take over as Queen Mother.
I have a group called the Knights of the Round Table, and I can make you a knight, and I put you in with other people who are distinguished and they want to work hard to make money for scholarship or for whatever else we do.
And I've been involved with the Imperial Court System for about 12 years. As of recent, I have had the honor to serve on the International Court Council, kind of the new queen on the block, so I'm learning stuff, but it's been really great. I'm learning lots, and it's really, really nice because there's 9 chapters in Canada, so 9 versus like 60, 61, 62 chapters. It's really great for me to help give Canada a bigger, stronger voice in the international court system. It's been great.
So the origins of the court system in Canada started here by an amazing human being by the name of Ted North, who is the Empress of Canada. And they had brought the court system here in 1971, and this is where we were able to start raising money and awareness towards local charities. And as time would have it, then different cities would be inspired to start their own chapters, and where we're at today, to where now we're able to be part of an international organization that celebrates community. Another thing that's really important to say is that it is interesting too to see people of color and also of the trans experience being fostered into leadership. And this is really important because having such a diverse international organization, the leadership should reflect that as well.
Thank you, Your Majesties, for all the work that you do. This is Sister Fancy Pants for Outlook TV.
Do you remember the 70s and the 80s?
I was not born then.
Oh, of course not. Sorry, my bad. Anyway, new book Vancouver Vice checks out the times for queers in the 70s and 80s.
We're at the Penthouse nightclub in downtown Vancouver for the launch of Vancouver Vice by author Aaron Chapman. Let's go meet him and find out what it's all about.
The book documents a period in the city's West End over the course of, we go back as far as the 1920s, but it really focuses on the 70s and early 80s in Vancouver, where a number of different interesting things were happening. It was sort of the rise of the gayborhood, as they call it, here in town, but also there's a crime wave that's hitting the neighborhood at that same time. I'd been walking around the West End and sort of thinking about those times. I was a bit of a young lad, in these years, in the late 70s and early 80s. But I remember how much it was a news story at the time. And, Vancouver post-Expo 86 is often considered a different place than it was then. And I thought it would be interesting to look back and look at the neighborhood through the lens of the crime history of the city, as well as the rise of some of the different elements of different sort of culture that was coming up. It's an interesting time where some of the first gay nightclubs are making an emergence and a more public, in a more public way in that regard too. At the same time, where there's a whole issue of street sex workers that are flooding the neighborhood at that time. The police department eventually started doing some surveillance of the English Bay bathhouse in 1977, and some of the people that were arrested were, everyday people, a lot of men with families and whatnot. And when they faced gross indecency charges, and when the lady of the house had to pick them up and get them out of jail, the cause of this, that happening caused a lot of suicides. A lot of people who couldn't want to face their families or the law in that regard. And the Vancouver Police Department, to their credit, stopped the program, stopped doing that surveillance, because they realized, look, this is having unintended consequences. When the street sex workers were on Davie Street, the police came in and pushed them off Davie Street, and that just pushed them into the residential streets. And when the residents started complaining about that, then they brought an injunction in and kicked them all out of the West End. But the rise of the gayborhood, as it's so often, it's a great term for it, is interesting to look at today, because it takes great steps in the public at that point, and identifies itself, and in many ways strengthens itself by being as public as it is. So it's a real turning point for the community during these years as well, and that's touched on in the book as well. I don't think we'll ever go back to this period in the West End, because the whole issue of street prostitution has changed now. It's not, outside of some areas of downtown East Side, it's not really around anymore. It's all online now, and so the world has changed. But as I say, we're talking about today about some issues where, people believe the city has lost control of its neighborhoods, when, some people complain about the tent cities in the same way that residents back then complained about street prostitution in the area. So it's interesting, some of the same things some of the same discussions are happening, even though it's a different neighborhoods and different communities and slightly different subjects and issues. Yeah.
For Outlook TV, this is Angus Pratt at the Penthouse nightclub in downtown Vancouver.
Time for us to take a little break.
I'm gonna go check out Santa.
I bet you are. Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
Hey, Rebecca, do you like good food and good drinks and raising money?
I do like all of those things.
Perfect. Then we're going to check out Passions, a fundraiser for Dr. Peter Center.
If you have a passion for food and mixed drinks, then you're at the right place. We're at Passions 2021, a fundraiser for Dr. Peter Center. Let's find out more from the organizer.
It would be possible to have this event tonight and for the last 17 years without the support of each of you. So please join us in raising your glass once again to all our chefs, our sponsors, our donors, and our volunteers.
I've had the honor of chairing Passions with Nathan Fong, the late Nathan Fong, for the last number of years, but it's Nathan's baby. Nathan started this many years ago as a fundraiser at Barbara Joe's Books for Cooks, which was on Granville Island, and it raised I think $3,000 in the beginning. And it turned into, this event, this incredible event that has happened year after year, and people love, and we're so happy to be able to have it in person again this year and come together and celebrate Nathan's legacy and to support the food program at the Dr. Peter Center.
It's just such a fun time. Everyone is, dressed beautifully, but has such a great sense of humor. There's wonderful drinks and amazing food and such a great energy in the room. And best of all, it supports the Dr. Peter Center. So you have a fun night. You're, supporting a place that does great work in our community. Within the Dr. Peter Center, I think that's a community as well. It's a place where you can go and you can feel like you're part of something. You're part of a family. You're not judged, and people care for you.
Funnily enough, in 2020, we were open more days than we ever have been, ever. Because we normally close on statutory holidays. We're open every day, except for stats. Last year, we stayed open on stats as well. And the reason was so many services were closed for our clients. We couldn't close. And so we found ways to keep open. So we've been busier than ever. And I'm very grateful to say we haven't had any participants with COVID. So that's fantastic. And yeah, we've been open every day.
The first thing that we had to acknowledge was that it was going to be really difficult to do this without Nathan, and that the event would have to honor him and also honor the restaurants that he cared so much about. And so we're really thrilled that so many restaurants would come out again this year and support us and donate their time and their expertise. And it's great to see some familiar faces, and it's great to see some new ones. Yeah, Nathan, he's still here with us, I think. It feels like he's here, even though, of course, he's not. And I think he'd be really happy to see this happening again.
This is a very satisfied Sister Fancy Pants for Outlook TV.
I mean, I'm pretty festive. You are very festive. This story might beat it all.
After a one-year postponement, Whistler Pride and Ski Festival is back. Please join us as we talk to the organizers to see what they have planned for 2022.
The festival started in 1992. A small group of gay men at that time, mostly gay men, decided to get together and start having a regular annual event in Whistler. It has grown to a queer-focused event that's inclusive of everyone, that has actually become the annual Pride Festival for the Whistler Resort. This year specifically, we are advising international travelers to make sure you're vaccinated, of course, but keep an eye on the entry requirements for Canada. Things, as we all know, things are changing and things can change, so make sure you keep an eye on it and make sure you have what you need to be let into our beautiful country. Vaccines are going to be required for any indoor, non-essential activity in the resort municipality. That will include anything at any of our indoor events, but also going dining at any of our eats programming, or even potentially even checking into your hotel. We're really thrilled to say that we have some cool events planned. Things will look different, but we are trying to keep the spirit of a celebration of culture and community alive. The entertainers this year include a really cool stand-up comedian who is just on the verge of breaking out that we're really excited to have come and join us, along with a handful of queens from various franchises of RuPaul's Drag Race. One thing we're doing this year is we're taking the splash pool party and moving it from the indoor pool that we normally use, which we can't use this year, to Scandinave Spa. And we're calling it Spa Lash. There are host hotel packages ready and available on our website. I recommend people book them soon, as prices are going up across the board in Whistler, and the early bird gets the worm.
So book early.
Book early. Tickets should be on sale now if you check our website, whistlerpride.com. go to whistlerpride.com. From one site, you can be connected to all of the event information. You can sign up for our ski and snowboard guided groups, which are the heart of the festival. You can find out about our Eats restaurant programming, which will be announced in January, and you can even get lift tickets and ski lessons and almost anything you need in Whistler, you can actually find through whistlerpride.com. We really recommend you use our booking website because bookings through us tell the resort what kind of numbers we bring to the festival, which then shows how big the festival truly is.
For Outlook TV, this is Angus Pratt in Vancouver.
We're going to have to take another little break now.
Perfect timing. I get to snuggle with Santa.
Naughty boy.
I'm Yogi Omar, president of the Vancouver Men's Chorus, and you are watching Outlook TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
We're heading to the Vancouver Men's Chorus new show. A bunch of men with big lungs making spirits bright.
That sounds pretty perfect to me.
Now that COVID restrictions are starting to ease up, the Vancouver Men's Chorus is producing their first live concert series in nearly 2 years. Let's go speak to them about Making Spirits Bright 2021.
So the theme for our Making Spirits Bright this year is past, present, and future, which is also represented in our decorations, which is a wreath, kind of like an eternal circle, because we really want to reflect. We didn't get our 40th season real show, so we wanted to reflect back into our past as well in terms of what some of the numbers we've done, some of the fan favorites, but we also need to reflect on where we are now in terms of what the cultural shift is going to be, and we're looking forward to the future. I'm the person of color that is the president of the Vancouver Men's Chorus in our 41-year history. So that's also an exciting thing as well. So our theme really fits into the makeup of our choir and the temperature of the culture.
Let's make this thankful. Everybody stand for
Yeah, this is our 41st edition of the Making Spirits Bright. So every Christmas season, we have a Christmas show, and this is our 41st year doing it. So the Vancouver Men's Chorus started in 1981. Now we're about 120 people, and we're just a group of gay men and our friends who love to sing, and we are trying to promote positive gay image in the gay community, doing social justice work while we're having fun. So our members comprise of basically people who love singing, and we all have our regular daily jobs, and so we have our work life and everything, and then we just do this for fun. And so yeah, it's like we have our day life and it is our night life. We're so excited for the spring because for the first time, finally, ever, we're rehearsing back in choir, all of us. There's no more split groups or anything like that. We're just a full choir again. We're still wearing masks. We're still distanced, but we got those HAPA air filters. We did our research and try to compare it to other choirs in Canada and the United States. We're still following the provincial health orders, but we're singing together. And the goal is hopefully we get to sing without the mask in our show in June.
For Outlook TV, this is Angus Pratt at the Playhouse in Vancouver.
Now let's head to Vancouver's Fountainhead Pub for Coco's Christmas show.
Coco was the pandemic queen that produced a lip sync every single day to entertain us during the pandemic.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas here at the Fountainhead Pub in Vancouver. Tonight is Coco's annual holiday drag show. After a one-year hiatus, let's find out what it's all about.
Christmas drag show started 21 years ago, believe it or not. Started when the Fountainhead, we paired together and decided to start a food drive. And to wrap it all up at the end of the food drive, we decided to do a little drag show. And from year one, it's kind of snowballed and blossomed into what it has become now, and it's been going on for 21 years strong.
Working extra shifts for
Charities are the Greater Vancouver Food Bank and Out in Schools. Every year I think it can't get any better, and every year it's more memorable and more exciting and more rewarding. I like to give people that are just starting out an opportunity to kind of perform in front of a really nice, appreciative crowd, and you've got to have the big names that people want to come out. We've got Carlotta, Simone, we've got Eva Scarlett, we've got Bill Monroe. A lot of people that haven't performed in a while are coming back, and I think because of the pandemic and everyone's been stressed out that we're just ready to give a really good show and lift everyone's spirits.
Coco, tell us about your videos during COVID.
Okay, I've been doing a little daily video posts. It's been going on since last March, so this March coming up, it'll be 2 years, and I've posted almost every single day a different song.
Oh, you can use the fireplace. I'll be waiting.
The Fountainhead has been around for over 20 years. We're big supporters and sponsors of sports teams, but yeah, also charity events. We've held bake sales here in the past, and we do this big show every year as our one kind of change of scenery, I think is kind of what happens to us when we have this show. It's nice to break things up and have a drag show in here and be able to raise money for Out in Schools and the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. We don't have our man, we don't have Scotty around. You try to find your holiday spirit without him, but I think we're going to do okay. I think everybody's going to bring a lot of love in, and so, hopefully we'll feel that and just make it through the night. Power through, as he would say. Put your head down and just make money for charity and make everybody happy. So hopefully we're able to do that tonight.
It's really about everybody getting together after not being able to after a long time, having some cheer, giving a little toast to Scotty, who was a long-time manager here as well, who's been missed dearly, and just raise some money for charity and a good cause. And we just want to have a night where everyone doesn't have to worry or care about anything. We're just here as a big old family having some holiday cheer.
This is Sister Vicky reporting for Outlook TV at the Fountainhead in the Davie Village in Vancouver.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Outlook TV, but we'll be back before the holidays are even over.
And after you finish opening up all your Christmas presents, why don't you consider joining us and volunteer to be a reporter or a host?
You can check us out on all of the socials as well while you're just sitting there being bored of your family. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Sister Fancy Pants.
Stay merry, Canada.
Christmas time was drawing near. I had everything in order. A run we shoveled for the deer with lights around the border. Cookies laid out and stockings hung. Candy canes and sparkling snow. Children nestled, carol sung. Gingerbread and mistletoe. I hope you shimmy down the chimney tonight. Tonight, please shimmy down the chimney tonight. I'd forgotten to call the chimney sweep. Someone told